The Georgia Bulldogs are a very good football team this year, and their over win total reflects that greatly. Also, they are the beneficiary of I'm not going to call it a cakewalk schedule, but relative to like maybe what other SEC schedules are, the fact that it's the 44th now, those strength of schedule ratings are based on the average power rating of your opponent, right? And where does that fall? The average rating of their power rating of their opponent is 28.2, which is actually like pretty solid. But in terms of the SEC, having only a 44th ranked schedule that is last in the SEC, that is in terms of for how talented this team is, that should be a cakewalk. And you can take the over 11.5 at plus money, but are you going to really bet on a team to go undefeated? Just bet to win the SEC championship.
I know that's what, or even national champ. Like that's why, like I had with Bama, I'm gonna take them to win a national championship, not because like the 10.5 I think is too rich for me. Even though I believe in them a ton, I think the value there is to go big or go home. Especially with your futures, or with in this case, yeah. So their schedule, let's call it what it is. It's a cupcake schedule, right? For Georgia standards, like it is. There's nobody on this team that should beat them. Right? They have to go to Tennessee. That's tough. That's where I am hesitant to take it, and I'm not even as high on Tennessee as some other people are. At Florida, well, I guess it's a neutral site there, but they're technically the road team there. It's going to be in Florida. At Auburn is not easy. But again, this is a rebuilding year with Auburn, and I'm high on them. I took their over. I don't know. I want to take the over so bad because I don't think they're really going to fall off that much. I think complacency is something they can definitely set in. That's something you can't really quantify, and that I have no idea. Like if I sit here and tell you like, oh yeah, this team's, that they're going to lose a bunch of games because they're getting complacent. Like I have no intel on that. Nobody. I don't even think Kirby Smart knows that. With how his team's going to respond this year. But I think that they have the talent everywhere to do it. I mean, they're like obviously they lost Stetson Bennett, a Heisman guy. Jalen Carter going to be a stud in the NFL. Nolan Smith, first round pick. Darnell Washington, stud. Like they lost a lot of these guys. Keely Ringo in the NFL, but they have no question marks on the team. Carson Beck, I think we both totally believe in. Offensive line, feel pretty damn good about with Cedric Van Pran coming back. Amarius Mims on the right side. Obviously, Brock Bowers is going to be in there for the tight end room, so you're not really worried about that at all. And even if he gets hurt, there's still guys behind them. Injury depth at running back position is definitely something to keep an eye on. Now, they don't need it early, right? Those guys can get healthy and really, as long as they're back again for week 12 and playing Tennessee, that's all they really need. And even if they do lose to Tennessee in a close one, if Tennessee is good enough to beat them and, to run the table in the SEC, otherwise, like Georgia can still make the national championship. I think, with how productive they've been the past couple of years, I don't think they don't have to win the SEC to make it in the championship. But yeah, I don't know. I know you're pretty high on Carson Beck. How come you're high on Carson Beck?
I mean, we've seen him play before. I mean, and he's done well. He's gonna have a ridiculous offensive line. He's gonna have better receivers than Stetson Bennett ever had. He's got the size. He's got the arm talent. I mean, how are you not supposed to like this kid? And there was a 3-way quarterback battle, right? I mean, really 2, but there's a 3-way quarterback battle, and he came out on top. And I think it was gonna be like that from the start. He looked awesome in spring. He's been looking good in fall so far, from what I hear. Yeah. He's also got the best tight end in the country, like maybe like the best tight end to come out. Well, Kyle Pitts maybe is up there in terms of prospects. Well, not maybe, he is up there in terms of prospects, pure prospect standard. But this defense is also insane. There's no holes on this team. There's none. When you have 0 holes on a team and you play a schedule like this, I mean, yeah, maybe you could see like a slip up somewhere, maybe like at Auburn early, or I don't know, I don't know. Like, I feel like they match
maybe
up.
It gets hot and like something happens.
Yeah,
with
but
Jackson
you get him at home, right? It's like,
yeah,
like I could see like Tennessee. People are like, oh, well, they're playing at Tennessee. It's like, I don't think they match up very well against, or I don't think Tennessee matches up very well against Georgia. I'm gonna be honest there. We saw
now
last
the only
year.
thing is that's where you need your running backs to be healthy, because that's where you'd love, like they did last year, to just pound the ball, keep it out of Joe Milton's hands. But if they don't have the running back depth there, if by week 12 they're even more banged up than they are right now, that's definitely something for concern. But obviously, you can't predict the future, with injury history, with injury luck. But it's something to keep an eye on for sure. If you're getting to week 12 and it's like, well, Georgia's got no running back, it's like, what's going to happen there?
Yeah. So once again, this is going to be, I think, likely. I think this can be a top 5 offense, and I think this could be a top 5 defense, and that leads me to lean to the over, right? But I can't actually physically take over 11.5. That's just ridiculous, even though I am the guy that took Stanford under 2.5, right? But I can't do that, right? But I can't. I just don't see any losses on this schedule, so I can't take the under either. It's like it's ridiculous. It's crazy.
Have they've hit the over? They've been 12-0 the past 2 seasons, haven't they? In the
Yes.
regular season?
Yes. Yes. So it's like, and this team, well, maybe it's not better than that 2021 team, but this team's better than last year's team. It is. And maybe like Georgia, in hindsight, maybe like Ohio State was probably the best team in the country last year. Hindsight, if you really look at it. But then again, they won the national championship by 56, or 58 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So
no, I think we can't do
can't
a
say
Georgia segment.
Yeah.
There you go.
No,
we can't do a Georgia segment without talking about Jamon Dumas-Johnson. I don't know if you hit on him already, but him at linebacker.
Haven't.
Somehow they still have crazy talent at linebacker after year. Getting decimated by. Well, I guess they're all back this year, but 2 years ago they lost like 3 of them in the top 4 rounds. They're all back, and they still have Raylan Wilson, CJ Allen, 2 freshmen that they love behind them. Obviously Smell Munden's back. Damn good duo, right? In the thing. The only interesting part is at interior defensive line. You do lose Jalen Carter. Right, he's gone. You do lose Bear Alexander, which I know character issues, and he didn't necessarily fit with the Georgia coaching staff. It sounds like there, but that's another year after losing 2 other first rounders the year prior to that. Like, how ready are those the guys like Christian Miller, even Jordan Hall as true freshman, to come in and fill? How confident are you in that? I know we're getting nitpicky, but in terms of like a team like Georgia, like we're gonna break them down differently than a team like Arkansas, where it's like you definitely have questions in certain spots. Georgia, like I'm getting nitpicky here, but like how worried are you about the interior defensive line to be star-studded like it has been in the past?
I'm not worried. There's a drop off from Jalen Carter, sure, and there's also a drop off from Jordan Davis, sure, but it's talented. It's really, really talented. And what also I think makes this team special is like this secondary as well. Malachi Starks, Shimon Bolin. I mean,
Lassiter.
I mean, what are we talking about? So it's like I think interior wise, right, their linebackers are good enough where they can also assist in the run game as well. Like they'll be a really good run defense. Last year they obviously were, and a lot of that had to do with Jalen Carter, but and Nolan Smith was also a good run defender too for his frame. But I think this pass defense I think it's going to get a lot better than it was last year. So I'm not so worried about pass rush, but also like Michael Williams is also he's good. He's also a good player. That's a true sophomore. So this team is crazy. This team is loaded. They're ready to go. They're everyone's pick to win the SEC East. I mean, if you have a dark horse to win the SEC, right, you can't pick it from the East because there's just no way that there's just no way that it's not going to be Georgia coming out of the East. It's like who can catch Georgia lacking in the West when they come, and really they're only like challenging games at Tennessee, right? Like, so it's like, are they going to be battle tested? That's the question. Oh, is this team going to be battle tested before they get to the SEC championship? That's the question that people are asking. Not like, where are the holes? What about this game? Are they going to get caught slipping? No, it's like when they get there, like, are they going to have been battle tested or whatever?
Well, I think that's a good point, and I'm definitely like worried about that in terms of like in-game battle tested. But like, you got to remember, they've been going, elite on elite for 6 months in the offseason right now, 7-8 months, like since January, or like really since February, right? In terms of like working out, but also spring practice, fall camp. So they're going to be battle tested in terms of like, they know what good competition looks like, right? They see it every day in practice. And it does help that they don't have, too physical a schedule, because they could be hopefully pretty healthy when it comes into November, and especially into December, obviously, and early January for them. They do reach all their goals. Yeah, that I also just trust Kirby Smart, like with my like everything. Like, oh, interior defense line, maybe I don't feel great about, but I believe he's recruited well. Obviously, Glenn Schumann and Will Muschamp are two damn good coordinators, along with Kirby Smart there. So like, I'm just not
Low
worried at
key,
all.
just Scott Cochran is also still there, just a maniac. So this
Oh,
team is
how worried?
special.
Real quick about coaching though. How worried are you about losing Todd Monken? Mike Bobo comes in. I think he's in-house hire, right? If that's
Yeah,
true, like,
well, he's been there before, right? He was there with Aaron Murray, I believe. But
oh yeah, okay, yeah, yeah.
but like I'm not that worried about it. I think Todd Monken is fantastic. I think he's gonna do a great job at the Ravens. But I'm not that. Look at like he's gonna have a lot of time to figure it out. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think the ceiling, I think with the talent he has there is higher than it was last year, even with Stetson Bennett. And the numbers he put up was actually really, really impressive. I think, like we talked about, I think the wide receiver room has higher talent. I think obviously Brock Bowers comes back. You feel good about your offensive line. I think Carson Beck is a bigger and stronger dude than Stetson Bennett, and he can still move around. He still has like, nice legs to him. Not that he's going to be better than Bennett. I think the upside in terms of like certain games, like they can go toe to toe with anybody offensively, and they also have the defense to back it up, which is why I think it's hard not to feel good about this Georgia team.
Yeah. And everyone talks about like Carson Beck is like a dark horse to win the Heisman. In my brain, like right now, like when I think about the people that are going to be in New York, like he's at New York. In my head, he's in New York. Like that's how high I am on Carson Beck.
Real
This is going
question,
to be a
and
good team.
I know you can't really know this, and nobody does, and I haven't really seen this out there, but if they start, getting more and more injury at running back, what are the chances Brock Bowers gets thrown back there and he gets 15 touches a game?
It's not zero,
He's
and
a
he could
guy that
do
can
it,
do it, and he
and he
could
could
do it.
do it. That would be awesome.
I'm just fangirling over Brock Bowers. He is so fun to watch. Just the way
Yeah,
his shoulders are just like this, and he just runs. Oh,
yeah.
go
But
dogs!
go Dogs. The point being, this is a good football team.